But you'd have to be real courageous to jump from PlayStation to Xbox. Not only courageous, you'd have to be a daredevil. Am I right, Raul?
Oh,
Oh,
so many people have stopped listening to our
oh,
show.
thank you, everybody. Good night, everybody. I wish I had the music. I could just play it right now. See you later, everybody. But no, we
So
actually have our next topic here. Raul, yeah, take it away.
our next topic, all right, strap in guys, because here's the thing. It's been only 2 weeks since our last episode, but let me tell you something. There has been so much Daredevil news in the past 2 weeks. I figure we just lump them all together and go through it all, and then we'll talk about it all at once, right? So I think right before our previous episode aired, they did confirm that indeed Daredevil is part of the Netflix, or the Netflix Daredevil is part of MCU canon. They put if you go and on Disney Plus, you know how you've got that column or that row that says MCU timeline order. They put the Netflix shows in the MCU timeline on Disney Plus. So, and if that's not enough for you guys, if that's not enough confirmation, here's all the stuff that's been coming out about Daredevil for the past 2 weeks. So here we go. I'm just gonna run through them like rapid fire. All right. So here it is. So let's run through them, shall we? So Daredevil Born Again, no longer 18 episodes, right? So CBR said it's going to be a little shorter. So here's the quote. Daredevil Born Again won't be quite the saga that it was expected to be, according to a new report. And I'm going to skip down a little bit because we got to go through a lot of stuff. So they eventually say Daredevil Born Again will no longer be 18 episodes, but will instead be more in line with the original Netflix series model of lower episode counts. So so they're cutting that a little bit shorter.
So how many episodes is it going to be?
They don't say exactly how many episodes, but they're cutting it down. So usually, like for example, they go on to say each of the 3 seasons of Daredevil they originally streamed at Netflix were 13 episodes each. So we can kind of gather from that. Basically, that might be how long it might, which I'm fine with. But we'll go back to that. So Vincent D'Onofrio talked on CBR. He talks about why Daredevil went in a new direction. Basically, he said in an interview during our restart of all the creatives on Daredevil Born Again, all the creatives got together and said, look, this is how we've got to do it now, D'Onofrio says. So we are for sure only speaking about it in terms of directly connected to the original Daredevil, and that's a great thing. It brings in a lot of cool stories and all the collateral story that happened in those original 3 seasons. So he's confirming and basically talking about the new direction. If that's not enough for you, if that doesn't convince you enough, here's another thing. Stunt coordinator from the original Netflix series is coming back. So Heroic Hollywood says that fans have been worried about how Daredevil Born Again will adapt Matt Murdock in the MCU. Goes on to say that, according to the Hollywood Reporter, they revealed that Philip Silvera, the fight and stunt coordinator for the original Netflix, Marvel's Daredevil on Netflix, will be returning for the Disney Plus revival. If that's not enough, guys, John Bernthal has been confirmed to come back as Punisher.
What?
THR, I'm super excited about that one. THR says not only are Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio reprising the roles from the Netflix series of Daredevil, Matt Murdock, and Kingpin Wilson Fisk, respectively, but John Bernthal is back as the vigilante known as the Punisher. And guys, again, if that's not enough, if you are not convinced, Wilson Bethel returning as Bullseye from Deadline. Wilson Bethel, who played Benjamin Poindexter Bullseye on Netflix Daredevil, is reprising his role on Disney Plus's upcoming Daredevil Born Again, sources confirmed to Deadline. I hear he is set to appear in 3 episodes of the series, one of the sources said, which is now filming. Rep from Marvel declined to comment, so that's interesting. And then finally, a set photo came out recently. I think some set footage also came out showing they're filming. They're back up and running after the strikes and all that stuff. They had like a hiatus. Back up and running now. They're filming again. Set photos, set videos released of Charlie Cox, Deborah Ann Woll, and Eldon Henson all together. Matt, Foggy, and Karen all together walking through the streets and talking and having the same kind of connections to the original show. Finally confirming they are indeed returning as Karen and Foggy. So this is it. I mean, it's all canon, man. It's all canon. The proof is right here. All these news stories, everything coming out.
Everything's canon?
Okay, well, that does remain to be seen, but at least it seems like, at least in the Daredevil world, everything's canon. John Bernthal Punisher, probably canon. Everything else, Jessica Jones,
What about Iron Fist? Do you think Iron Fist is canon?
Hey.
The reason I ask is because I'm like, am I gonna have to watch Iron Fist now? Am I gonna have to watch Iron Fist and then Luke Cage and then everything else now?
I don't know. See, that's the thing. I wonder if you're Marvel and you're like, okay, let's make the Netflix shows canon. It's like, well, where do you? Okay, so does that mean Jessica Jones is canon? Does that mean Luke Cage? Does that mean Iron Fist? The very poorly received Iron Fist. There's a lot of questions you got to answer now. Marvel needs to answer now. Now that they've decided to include the Daredevil series as canon, because with the Daredevil series comes a lot of other stuff. And it's if you're going to say it's canon, you can't accept it as canon and not acknowledge the rest. So I don't know.
Although
I don't know.
You could do this, because this is what I've done is, as soon as Charlie Cox showed up as Daredevil in Spider-Man, then I was like, okay, time to watch Daredevil on Netflix, because now if you're,
I'm rewatching it right now. Oh, it's amazing, just as good as the first time I saw it.
Fantastic show. I'm a big fan of season 1 and 2, but then once we get to season 3, I'm like, man, it's just so dark now that I kind of need a Daredevil to lighten them. Yeah, like I need a brighter, happier Daredevil. After
go watch She-Hulk then, and you can get that.
And to be honest, it did give me that, which was kind of like, listen, I'm not a fan of the She-Hulk series because I didn't think it was as funny as I'd hoped it would be. But like, it was still nice to see a happier Daredevil that was more peppy and chip on his shoulder kind of guy,
Right.
But yeah, this whole thing kind of just, it's interesting because it goes back to Bob Chapek and Bob Iger. So the whole thing of, the CEOs of Disney, when they were trying to switch the banner or switch the flag to the next person that was going to lead Disney, Bob Chapek made all these decisions that basically neutered Kevin Feige, who runs Marvel, and basically was like, this is what I want you to do with Marvel now. And so Kevin Feige just had to work with it, whereas it felt like Bob Iger was much more understanding about the creatives in his company and said, hey, we don't want to treat this as like a numbers thing. Just go and be creative, do the thing you have to do, and if people respond to it, great. That was Bob Iger's point of view. So now that we're switching back from Bob Chapek, now Bob Iger's over here going, well, listen, we've screwed you up like crazy, Kevin, so let's try to unscrew. So what can we
just
do?
You, Kevin, specifically for you.
Yeah,
he did all this for you.
just for me specifically. God damn you, Bob Chapek. But like, basically, they're thinking, what can we do to make this a smooth transition for Kevin Feige again, so that we don't stress him out? Clearly, one of the easiest things to do is just to reconnect all the Netflix stories. Because if the Born Again series was already not working after 18 episodes and, shooting that series, Kevin Feige sat in, didn't like what he was watching. We don't have time to be coming up with a new story and plot line. Why don't we just bring in somebody that can continue the series? Who knows Daredevil more than these writers that we just fired? Oh, I know. The guys who've been writing Daredevil for the past 12 years. I don't know, I'm exaggerating the number. But like, since Daredevil season 1 on Netflix started. Let's bring back that entire team and bring back those writers and continue their stories, because clearly they know what they're doing, and it's no sweat off my back if I can at least know that I can trust these guys to do this, Yeah, it's a mess, though. It is definitely a mess.
It is a mess that we're hopefully starting to see the beginnings of being cleaned up and kind of getting back in the right direction we need to go. And it sounds like, from what we've heard about the production of Daredevil Born Again, them having to scrap it because they just realized this isn't working. We have the Netflix Daredevil that makes, if we use that would make sense here. And that's what they realized, that the Netflix Daredevil, it had to be that, because it just made more sense being part of whatever story that they want to tell in relation to that show, with the MCU. They just realized it made more sense than trying to do this this other thing where they're kind of cherry picking, it's kind of the same Matt Murdock, but it's kind of different. Here's, it's Wilson Fisk, but he's got a Hawaiian shirt now,
Yeah.
but they realized at some point that it made more sense to do this. And it sounds to me like they're starting to pump the brakes now. Marvel is starting to pump the brakes a little bit and kind of step back and be like, time out, wait a minute. Let's take stock of everything here and let's start focusing in on what needs to be kind of cleaned up.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Now that Kevin Feige's kind of got a little bit more authority again, we're starting to see, hopefully, the MCU get back on track. And it's little things like this that I'm happy to hear that they're actually taking the time to think about these things a little more. And if they have to scrap and start again, well, that's what they got to do.
Yeah, and also just the whole multiversal thing kind of gives leeway for everything at the moment, because it is both a trap and a gift for them, because on one end, the multiverse is confusing so many generic or general audience goers that are trying to watch a movie and just have fun. You don't want to intimidate moviegoers that come into the theaters and go, wait, so this Iron Man knows Morbius? No, that's a different thing. But then what about this universe? The bird guy met the vampire. So isn't that the same as the Hulk? No. That's already bad enough as it is. So we're trying to figure that out. So yes, we've got to pull back. But then behind the scenes as well, we have reasons to just kind of tell people, no, fans, don't freak out. Writing wise, we're going to fix this. We're going to recast people. We're going to move things around so that these projects can make more sense for us. And we can all just go back to having fun and having that crazy Marvel magic.